When we talk about the royals, we expect them to be those jewel-adorned wealthy individuals whose power is big enough to make changes that affect the entire globe. Just last September, we heard about the Queen's passing, hence the ascension of King Charles III to the throne. In some of our recent videos, we were able to give you a glimpse of what kind of lifestyle Queen Elizabeth used to live. We featured her fortune, palaces, rare collections, crown jewels, and her expensive cars. Upon the Queen's passing, not only the throne did King Charles III inherit, but also the Queen's fortune. So I welcome you to Class Act Luxury channel, where we will be talking about the world's most luxurious things. This is your luxury girl for all seasons, and today we will talk about King Charles III's overall fortune. If you wish to delve into the world of luxury, hit the subscribe button so we can keep you updated with more of our videos. Let's begin! On the late Queen's passing, she left a marvelous legacy in her service as the longest-reigning female head of state in history. That's the part that will go down in books. But let's talk about what's not going to be included in history books. It is the part where her personal fortune of $500 million she left will be inherited by King Charles III and other royal family members. Before we go deep into the rabbit hole to know how much King Charles III's wealth is, let's talk about the late Queen's possession very briefly, since we already talked about it. Queen Elizabeth II's net worth was never disclosed to the public. All the amounts we see in the media are estimated by some consultancy firms. That is due to the Queen's request to the British government in 1973 to never disclose exact information about her wealth as a law, because the Queen finds it quote-unquote embarrassing. However, the Queen never downplayed her wealth. She's always seen with her pricey bags, jewelry, clothes, and many more. The media also knows her investments in horses, art, real estate, the Royal Philatelic Collection, the Balmoral Castle, and the Sandringham House. All these mentioned possessions are all going to King Charles III, and all that we can do is give the estimate, of course. Because the Queen's will is expected to be sealed for the next 90 years, meaning none of us in our lifetime will know how much the royals inherited. Now let's proceed to King Charles III's fortune. Before King Charles got his inheritance, his net worth was said to be around $440 million already. With that being said, with or without the inheritance, the king's already worth millions. At the age of 74, his ascension granted him the inheritance of $42 billion in assets, belonging to the Crown Estate plus Buckingham Palace, the Duchy of Cornwall, the Duchy of Lancaster, Kensington Palace, and the Crown Estate, Scotland. The assets include real estate, jewel collections, art collections, and any personal investments. King Charles is also assigned now to oversee the $42 billion worth of a portfolio of assets held in trust for the kingdom. The Queen's beloved castle in Scotland, the Balmoral Castle, as well as the Sandringham House in England, will go to the king. The personal assets aforementioned are valued to be at $500 million, according to Forbes. With all these assets the king had inherited, he gotta pay the transfer tax, right? But no. In the 1993 agreement with the British government, all the transfers of property from one sovereign to another shall be exempted from taxation. Such a good day to be a king, isn't it? Before we proceed, let us know in the comment section what you think about this tax exemption for the monarchs. Comment down below. Before King Charles became a king, he was once a Prince of Wales whose income comes from the Duchy of Cornwall. Last year, King Charles earned a lucrative amount of $27 million. Now that he's a king, his son Prince William will not only inherit the title of Prince of Wales, but also the Duchy of Cornwall, a conglomerate with a net worth of $1.2 billion, and the charitable foundation King Charles launched to protect the environment. Upon ascension, King Charles had to let some of his personal properties be inherited by his firstborn, Prince William: the Oval Cricket, the Highgrove House, and the Isles of Scilly. King Charles's fortune doesn't end there. His ascension to the throne also means inheritance of the eye-watering $17.5 billion in real estate. That is the Crown Estate, which includes Regent Street, London's prime shopping destination, Ascot Racecourse, and, well, the entire seabed of the UK. Upon ownership of the Crown Estate, the royal family will get 25% of the annual income of the Crown Estate, and the latter will go to the British Treasury. Although that is a huge cut, King Charles cannot use it for other purposes aside from its specific purpose. 10% out of the 25% cut will go to the maintenance of Buckingham Palace, while the other 15% goes to the family's annual travel, formal events, and other administrative expenses. And then there's this thing called the Privy Purse, which the king gets his allowance from, the $753 million Duchy Lancaster. In 2022, it amounted to $24 million subject to tax, set to cover any other official expenditures. Aside from that, the king also holds a Crown Estate Scotland worth $570 million. The other crown holdings are difficult to value since there is no official disclosure of its value, but the crown jewels are the most identifiable asset among those, and they are included in the royal collection. According to Brand Finance, the royal collection has estimates amounting to $12.7 billion. The collection includes the crown jewels, plus the works from Caravaggio, Da Vinci, Rembrandt, and Vermeer. Given that King Charles inherited personal assets from the late Queen worth $500 million, plus a $2.3 million inheritance from Prince Philip, let's now talk about King Charles's personal assets. The king must have had a sizable garage for his vast collection of cars. One of his most prized possessions is a Seychelles blue Aston Martin DB6 Volante, which he drove for the opening ceremony of the 2022 Birmingham Commonwealth Games. On his debut in London, he used his mother's Rolls-Royce Phantom 6. There was no market price for it, but in 1976, the same model is priced at $225,000. Another bad boy in his collection is a Bentley State Limousine he inherited from the late Queen. Another notable possession he's got is the 18K gold Parmigiani Fleurier Toric chronograph watch he's been wearing since the mid-2000s. This could be considered a rare timepiece, since the Parmigiani Fleurier no longer makes the same model. In an attempt to know this piece's value, we could base it on the same model that was sold at Christie's in 2019, priced at $8,125. As a Prince of Wales, King Charles used to depend solely on the income he gets from the Duchy of Cornwall. Under his supervision, Duchy's net worth grew by 51% from 2011 to 2022. Because of this, King Charles can go independent with the income he was getting from the Duchy, tagged at $26.6 million, compared to the sovereign grant amounting to $1.2 million only. To summarize all of this, the king is currently worth $500 million in personal assets, plus the $42 billion held in trust as a sovereign. All of this implies that being a royalty sure does involve a lot of numbers and responsibilities. But we all love numbers, don't we? I don't know about the responsibilities though. And that's it, another video about the world's luxurious things. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Thank you for watching and see ya in our next video. Ciao!